You could be studying at the best university in the country, but you'll still be pushed to the absolute limit because elite students refuse to sit at the same table as you. But this chaos is finally starting to be fixed. A new law on protection from caste discrimination in the workplace has just come into force. Another compensation law was finally amended, tripling the payouts for Dalit lives lost. And there's one more massive, shocking fact that will completely flip everything you know about India's caste system in just a year. It'll be revealed at the very end of the video, so watch till the end. To make this video, I dug deep. I studied 2025 court documents, new 2026 education laws, and dug through thousands of threads on Twitter to find real stories that won't be shown in the news. Today we take off the Bollywood rose-colored glasses. We're answering 4 questions about the rawest and scariest changes happening right now. Why, in 2025, is the price for a sip of water from a common bottle a shattered jaw? How did a historic US court decision in July 2025 prove that you can't hide from your caste even across the ocean in the offices of Apple and Google? Why did a 2024 report call the work of cleaners a thermal execution, yet people keep climbing into scorching pits filled with filth? Why will you get brutally attacked by a mob just for having an Instagram avatar where you're wearing sunglasses? You'll catch that crazy fact in the middle of the video. Today, 8 facts. From pits of despair to the Prime Minister's office. Buckle up. This is Sudden Shift, a sharp shift in reality. Welcome to IIT, India's answer to MIT, or Harvard. Getting here is a dream for millions. But for students from lower castes, it turns into an isolation cell. You won't be asked directly, what is your caste? You'll be asked, what was your rank when you got in? If your score is lower, because of a quota, you get slapped with the unworthy label. In 2023 to 2024, a scandal blew up at IIT Bombay over vegetarian tables. Upper caste students, who are often vegetarians, segregated zones for themselves in the canteen and sanitized them if a Dalit student eating meat sat there. The elite literally refuses to sit at the same table as the unclean. This pressure destroys lives. The story of 18-year-old Darshan Solanki, who met a tragic end at an IIT hostel, shook the country. He called his family saying classmates stopped talking to him the second they found out his caste. But this tragedy forced the system to flinch. Stats showed discrimination complaints surged by 118% in 5 years. In January 2026, the University Grants Commission, UGC, dropped some historic, hardcore rules. The nuclear option. If a university ignores bullying, it can lose funding or even have its right to issue degrees revoked. This is a fatal blow for any university. Equality police. Now every college is required to create an equity committee to investigate complaints. Protecting victims. I think this is the most important part. They scraped the rule punishing false complaints, which was used to scare students into silence. And at the end, the wildest fact awaits you. The changes coming for castes in 2027. Even if you think you know this law, watch anyway. There are details you haven't heard. You think discrimination is just dirty looks? In June 2025 in Uttar Pradesh, an upper caste teacher beat a 15-year-old Dalit student until he had a shattered jaw. For what? The kid simply touched a common water bottle. This isn't a one-off. In 2024, another teenager in Rajasthan was forced to drink urine for a similar mistake. The system teaches kids from day one, you are either clean or dirty. If you are a Dalit, your touch pollutes the water, the food, and even the air. School, which should give knowledge, gives lessons in humiliation. School is hell for kids. You ask, where is the law? The teachers were arrested, yes, but the expert reality is scary. Under the SC/ST Act, criminals shouldn't get bail, but in reality, conviction rates are only 30%. The boy's family is already being threatened with having their house burned down if they don't drop the case. But this is exactly where the laws are starting to shift. These teachers are finally starting to face the music and get punished. This is the darkest secret of a superpower: manual scavenging. In the age of AI, people in India descend into manholes naked to scrape out filth with their bare hands. But now, a new killer has joined the methane: the climate. The Heat Watch 2024 report revealed a terrible truth. Sanitation workers, Dalits, are losing their lives en masse from heat stroke right inside sewer pits. The Supreme Court of India finally called this out as barbarism. At the end of 2024, the court ruled if a person loses their life in the sewage, the state has to pay the family 30 lakh rupees, about $36,000. The compensation was tripled. This is cold calculation. The state can't stop the tragedies yet, so it started raising the price of human life to force contractors to buy robots instead of people. What do you think about this? Is a Dalit's life worth $36,000? You might say, well, that's in India, but what about America? Caste has gone global. Indians are IT geniuses, but they brought caste in their suitcases to the USA. At the giant Cisco, Brahmin managers bullied a Dalit engineer for years, gatekeeping his success. What happened? For a long time, American courts didn't get what caste was. What changed in 2025? On July 18, 2025, history was made. A US federal court issued a ruling that set a new standard. Caste discrimination is now considered a civil rights violation. Now at Apple, Google, and Microsoft, caste is included in official ethics codes. If you call a colleague unclean in a San Francisco office, you'll get fired and sued just as fast as you would for racism. The free pass is over, and honestly, I'm loving this law. And now, that crazy fact about Instagram we promised, an absurdity that gets bones broken. We promised to talk about sunglasses. Here's the reality. In July 2024 in Gujarat, a mob beat up a Dalit guy. The reason? He posted a photo on Instagram wearing sunglasses and traditional clothes. Upper castes considered this pure audacity. Their logic: you are dirty. You don't have the right to look cool. People are forcibly shaved bald and beaten for curling their mustaches up, a warrior symbol. Instead of fear, this sparked an online uprising. In response to the beating, thousands of young Dalits launched a flash mob. They started mass posting photos in glasses and with mustaches using hashtags of pride. Police, under pressure from social media, started arresting attackers not for hooliganism, but under the harsh articles of the SC/ST Act. Social media made violence visible, and silence isn't an option anymore. But wait until you see the biggest twist happening to caste at the end. In India, there is a silent rule. A Dalit has no right to look like a king at his own wedding. In February 2024, a groom was yanked off a horse and beaten because only warriors can ride horses. State governments started providing official police protection for Dalit weddings. Now it looks like a special op. The groom rides a horse, and around him moves a cordon of SWAT teams with machine guns and shields. It sounds wild, but it works. The state is physically forcing a person's right to celebrate, protecting him from his backward neighbors. Would you want to throw a Dalit off a horse? Personally, I wouldn't. How do you like this law? 95% of marriages happen inside the caste. Violation is punishable by the ultimate price, often at the hands of one's own parents: honor crimes. In 2024 to 2025, headlines were full of news about poisoned daughters. In response to the massacre, some state governments, like Haryana and Kerala, started opening safe houses for lovers. A couple from different castes can go there, get housing, food, and armed protection for their first year of marriage. Plus, the state started paying cash payouts, up to 2.5 lakh rupees, for inter-caste marriages, trying to buy tolerance. Love is now under state protection, although the risk is still huge. But the real explosion is planned for 2027, and here it is, the massive final fact. And now, the main event that could tear India apart from the inside. In April 2025, the Indian government officially approved including caste in the national census. This is happening for the first time since 1931. The census kicks off in February 2027 and will be fully digital. What changes and why is it dangerous? Before, the government didn't see castes in stats. Now they're counting everyone. This is opening a massive can of worms. Polls show there are way more lower caste people than we thought. This will lead to a quota war. If the 2027 census shows that backward classes are 80%, they'll demand to remove the 50% job cap and take power for themselves. India stands on the edge of a political earthquake. The country will either become fairer or plunge into the chaos of civil conflict. Let's wrap this up. India is introducing a ton of laws to protect Dalits and erase caste lines. But at the same time, it introduces a law that will totally root caste in society through the census. These actions are fighting against each other. What do you think about this last census law? Would you participate? Also, check out my other videos about India popping up on the screen right now. Peace out.